plot 2336 PHI Justo Mwale Road, right in Lusaka.
Okay.
If we come back to our topic of discussion, the role of men in the fight against gender-based violence, I think maybe to explain to the viewers out there what is GBV, maybe when I'm switch to understand kuti gender-based violence ni chani, maybe ni chintu cha banji.
Right. So in basic terms, gender-based violence is just doing something bad or ill towards someone because of who they are or their gender. So that's in a layman's language. So it's ill treatment of someone based on their gender, and it comes in different forms. It comes in different forms. So you find that from the statistics, women and children are the most affected, or more of the victims are in the category of women and children. More so because women are kind of weaker in terms of the physicality as well as the children. So that makes them easy targets. And so you find that on the other hand, men and boys are mostly perpetrators of gender-based violence. Of course, there's a small segment of men and boys who are also affected by gender-based violence, but mostly it's based on the statistics, it's women and children. Yeah. So if I can talk about the different forms of gender-based violence, I can share a few. Especially in Zambia, the common ones, number one is sexual gender-based violence. So sexual gender-based violence basically is taking advantage of someone in a sexual way without their consent. And that also would include rape and any form of forced sexual activity with someone. Then there's also economic GBV. You know, it's not, people don't really know about it.
I actually know about it.
So sometimes people can take advantage of you because of the economic aspect, because you are in need of something. So someone offers a small token in terms of maybe food. In extreme cases, they offer you food. Maybe a girl child is offered food in exchange for sexual favors and things like that. Yeah. And then we also have the other common one is physical gender-based violence. This involves physical attacks on someone based on their sex. So it could be either way, because when we say because of sex, people think, okay, it's mostly women. But even there are stronger women. There are women who are stronger than the men. And so
is it really being strong, or maybe it's because we have certain men that don't actually believe in fighting a lady?
It could be, but okay, this is so embarrassing to say on the screen, but I remember when I was just a little boy, I was involved in a fight, and I was beaten terribly by a girl. So so sometimes there are actually women who are physically stronger than men. And so even in households or in homes, you find that there's a man who is being physically abused by the wife, and it's difficult for us men to just come out and report, to say, oh, okay, this is what is happening to me. Yeah, so that's another aspect. Maybe the last one that I can talk about is domestic gender-based violence. This one usually happens in the household, within the home. So those are some of the examples or forms of gender-based violence that are out there.
Wow. It's really an interesting topic, and I'm happy that you are the right person that is talking about these things, because you are relating, or rather you are talking through experience, because you are working with these people. Are they just men? Maybe I didn't get you. Are you just working with boys and men?
Okay, so when we were born, the focus was on the man to try and because we realized that most of these community challenges and needs that we have actually emanate from the men. We deal with issues, for example, I'm just giving a background. We deal with issues of early marriages, teenage pregnancies, crime, drug and substance abuse. But when you look deep into these things, you realize that it's actually the men who are in the center of these things. And so the idea or why the organization was born was for us to sit with how do we build men or boys into men who will be responsible enough to take care of themselves, their bodies, their families, their children, and the community at large, and just to respond to those needs. So that's how we were born. But now you see that as men are learning about these things, and as they are growing and becoming more responsible, they now in a position to respond to the community needs, to support the women, to support the girls. So we are not only supporting the men, but also the girls and the women as well. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
You've talked about what GBV is all about, and you've said you've given out some of the examples of gender-based violence. I'm sure the viewers would love to know what really causes GBV.
Yeah, thank you so much. So there are so many causes actually that lead to GBV, gender-based violence. One of them, and I think the biggest one in our setting in Africa, is coming from the negative cultural beliefs and norms. And so you find that as in the communities, there are certain ideologies that are inculcated in the boy child, even in women. You find that there's a woman who is being physically abused, and she's there just saying, "Oh no, he loves me." It's a sign of love. You get what I mean?
Yes.
You know. So yeah. So there are those cultural aspects that lead to gender-based violence because maybe the men believe that as the head of the house.
Sorry to cut you short. Is it only the cultural aspect, or it's also in the Bible?
Well, that's
where a man is seen to be more superior than a lady.
Yeah, well, if you may, religion is part of our culture.
Sure.
Yeah, so that's religion. It's all in the same umbrella. So when we talk about culture, it also includes the way of life, like beliefs and all those things. And so in the Bible, I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian. I read my Bible, and so sometimes I just feel like maybe it's not understanding what really is meant by Scripture. Because sorry, I'm diverting a bit just to respond to that.
No problem.
The same Bible tells us, or tells the man to say, you're supposed to love your wife.
Yes.
The woman is a weaker vessel and things like that. So sometimes there's misunderstanding of the Scripture, and that's why we're trying to work even with the clergy, with the people from the faith section of our community, so that these things can be explained to the boy child at an early age, so that even as they are growing older into manhood, they understand what it truly means to be a leader, what it truly means to be a father, to be a husband, and to be a member of the community. And so those cultural aspects and the religious issues that you brought about, kind of which are misdirected, they lead to gender-based violence. Aside from that, also there's the social media. Because of the communication and the information that we're having on the internet and the different platforms, you will find that people are picking wrong things, and they're inflicting those things on other people, on the women and children especially. Yeah, so those are some of the causes. Aside from that, I think also boys, when they're growing up, they lack positive role models, and by that I mean the man is not present in the home.
Yes.
In most cases, you find that fathers are not there. Maybe most of the times when I have interactions with the men, the reason they give is, no, we are working, we are trying to fend for our homes and things like that. But what is surprising is that even homes where the man and the woman are both working, it's still the same thing. So the fathers have not created time for their children, for the boy child, so that they can help to build that child to be a man who is responsible, a man who is kind enough not to hit a woman or any person for that matter. Yeah, so lack of positive role modeling is really affecting us, and so we are trying to work with different members of the community, traditional leaders, church leaders, and people like that, so that we can bring the men together. We can talk to them about positive parenting skills, because parenting is a skill. And so you find that not everyone has that skill. So we have different sessions in the communities, not just in town, but also even in the rural areas. So we talk to the men, talk to them about parenting, talk to them about family planning, because even just family planning can lead to GBV. I've heard of, there was a story a long time ago. I was still young. This man wanted a son, and when the woman had a child, a girl child, a daughter, he rejected the child. So he said, "This is not my child." Like, I'm not joking. Like, this is a straight up man. He says, "No, this is not my child." Other cases of family planning are that there's a video on our Facebook page where this man is saying, "I've told my wife enough is enough. We're not having any more children. So if we have more children, then that's not mine." So that can bring up fights in the home and things like that. So those are just some of the examples of issues that bring about gender-based violence in homes.
I don't know if it's only